Okay, for today's notes, we're on page 3-4 in our notebook, 3-4, and we're going to keep working on solving multi-step equations. Today's notes talk about when we have variables on both sides. This is like the next level of problems. So variables on both sides, that's what these notes are going to help you be able to solve equations with variables on both sides. So the first two steps are going to be similar to what we did before. The first one is if you have parentheses, you are going to use the distributive property. So I'm going to write distribute if parentheses, right? So you may or may not need to do that if you don't have parentheses. Second step, combine like terms if you have any. And I'm going to also mention on each side. You can't combine like terms that are on different sides of the equal sign. So combine like terms on each side, and that's what we've been doing. Our third step is our new step. And this step is if you have variables on both sides. So you're checking that for this step. After you simplify everything you can, you're going to move one of them. And that's what we're going to learn in these notes. And then the fourth step is to solve, which is what we did back in the first unit, where we located the variable, right? We undo addition or subtraction. Then we undo multiplication or division, except when there's a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. So now we have all these steps to solve equations. But the fourth step we had been doing, adding 1 and 2 is our latest. Now the third step, that's what's new today. So let's look at our first example. 5y minus 8 equals 3y plus 12. We don't have any parentheses. We don't need to distribute. Like terms. We do actually have some like terms, but remember how I mentioned on each side? We don't actually have any like terms on each side. 5y and 8 aren't like terms, and 3y and 12 are not like terms. Number 3, variables on both sides. Yes, that's the new thing we have going on today. We have to move one of them. And you know what? You pick. So you get a choice. Which one do you want to move? And the way you move it is you make it a 0 by adding or subtracting it. So for this example, I'm going to do it both ways. So I'm going to just put a little line there and use half the space, and then we're going to do it again in a second, doing the other way, just for this one. So I'm going to move 5y, and to move 5y means I'm going to get rid of it. I want it to go away. I only want a variable on one side. So I'm going to subtract it from both sides, because remember, I have to do the same thing to both sides. I can't, that's one of the golden rules of equations. When I do that, this goes away on this side. This 5y minus 5y becomes 0, so it goes away. And I bring down my minus 8 equals, and then 3y minus 5y. So now I do have some like terms I can combine. That's minus 2y, and then I bring down my plus 12. And now I've got step 4, solve. So here's my variable. I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. I get minus 20 equals minus 2y because this is 0. I want to make this a 1 in front of the variable because it's being multiplied by negative 2. So I divide by negative 2. I end up with 10 equals y. So I solve my equation. Let's go over what happens when you pick the other variable to get rid of. So I'm going to rewrite the equation. I want you to do this too. And if you don't have room, do it on the back of the page. But I just want to go through the same example so you know that it works either way. So I got rid of 5y by subtracting 5y. So let's get rid of 3y. I'm going to subtract 3y from both sides. And when I do that, over on this side, it becomes 0. And on the left, 5y, I'm going to combine 5y minus 3y. I get 2y minus 8 equals 12. And now I'm on to step 4. So I'm going to locate my variable. 8's being subtracted. I'm going to add 8. This becomes 0. I get 2y equals 20. I want to divide both sides by 2 because I want to get a 1 in front of the y. Its coefficient to be 1. So I get y is equal to 10. So notice, either way I chose to do it, I got the same answer. So it doesn't matter which one you pick to get rid of. Okay, let's do number 2. So number 2, I don't have any parentheses. I don't have any like terms on each side, but I do have variables on both sides. I have a minus 8x and a minus 6x, so I have variables on both sides. I'm going to just look at minus 6x and get rid of that. So minus 6x, I'm going to have to add 6x to make that a 0. So I have to do that over here as well. So when I do that, minus 6x and 6x is 0, and I bring down my positive 14 equals 12 minus, then I have negative 8x plus 6x. So that is going to be negative 2x. So now I have a two-step equation. I have my variable here. I need to get rid of this 12 by subtracting 12 from both sides. When I do that, I get 14 minus 12 is 2. This is 0, it goes away. And I have to bring, don't forget that, minus 2x. So now I want to make my coefficient 1, so I've got to divide both sides by what x is being multiplied by. And 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. This becomes a 1, so negative 1 is x. So for the next ones, I'm going to start the problems, but you're going to finish them. So we're going to do steps 1, 2, and 3 together. You're going to finish step 4 on your own. Okay, so next question, 7k equals 3k minus 36. I don't have parentheses that I need to simplify. I don't have like terms on each side, but I do have variables on both sides. I could subtract 7k from both sides, but I get 0 on the left, and that just doesn't seem, I'm just not comfortable with that. So I'm going to do the 3k. I'm going to subtract 3k from both sides, and that's going to be where I get rid of 1. I get rid of that with a 0. So 7k minus 3k is 4k equals, and then I've got to bring down my minus 36. You're going to finish solving that because now you're down to just step number 4. Okay, let's go to number 4. Okay, number 4, I have 12 minus 2u equals 9u plus 45. I don't have any parentheses. I don't have like terms on each side, but I do have variables on both sides. So I am going to take this minus 2u and add it to both sides. So on this side, it becomes 0 and it goes away. I end up with 12 equals 9 plus 2u is 11u plus 45. And you're going to finish solving that equation. And then number 5, no parentheses. No like terms on each side, but I do have variables on both sides. I'm going to get rid of this minus 1m. Minus 1m, I'm going to add 1m to both sides. This becomes 0, goes away. 11 equals 51. And then I have minus 6m and plus 6m I'm going to combine to get minus 5m. Okay, last one on this page. I don't have any parentheses. I don't have any variable like terms on each side to combine, but I do have variables on both sides. I'm going to get rid of this minus 10k by adding 10k on this side, so I have to add 10k on the other side. That becomes 0. I bring my positive 1 down as 1 equals 40. And then I have a negative 7k and a positive 10k. So that gives me a positive 3k to solve, and that's going to be your job. Okay, let's go to the next page. So we have 6 more problems to kind of work through. So number 7, I have some parentheses, so I have to actually do some simplifying from step 1. So I have to do my distributive property. So 3 times 6p is 18p, and then 3 times minus 1 is minus 3 equals 11p minus 45. I don't have like terms on either side, but I do have variables on both sides. So I am going to pick 11p to get rid of because it's easier to subtract 18 minus 11 than 11 minus 18. So it doesn't matter which one I pick, I just have to pick one. So over on the left, 18 minus 11 is 7p minus 3 equals, this becomes 0, negative 45. And now you're going to solve. Number 8, I have step 1 to deal with. I have parentheses. So 2 times 4w is 8w. 2 times minus 1 is minus 2 equals. And then over here, negative 10 times w is negative 10w. Then I have negative 10 times negative 3. Don't forget that negative becomes positive 30 plus 4. Okay. Step 2, do I have any like terms? I do. I have this 30 and this 4 on this side that I can combine. On this side, I don't have any like terms. I'm just going to bring it down. But over here I have minus 10w, and then 30 plus 4 is 34. And then I have variables on both sides, so I am going to get rid of this minus 10. I feel like it's easier to add 10 and 18 than it is to add negative 10 and negative 8. So 8 plus 10 is 18w, and then I bring down my minus 2. This is 0, so it goes away, equals, and then I bring down my positive 34. And now you are going to solve. Number 9, I do have parentheses. So I'm going to simplify those first with the distributive property. So 9 times m is 9m. 9 times minus 3 is minus 27. I'm going to bring down this plus 3m because it's just hanging out there. Equals 7m plus 43. Do I have any like terms on each side? On the left side, I do. I have 9m and I have 3m. So 9m and 3m is 12m. Going to bring down that minus 27. And then on the right, I have 7m plus 43. So I did steps 1 and 2 simplified. Now I'm looking, I have variables on both sides. I am going to pick 7 to get rid of, so I'm going to subtract 7m from both sides. So on the left, it's going to be 12 minus 7m is 5m minus 27. This becomes 0, goes away, equals 43. And you're going to finish that. And let's look at number 10. Now, a lot of students would look at number 10 and their brains would automatically want to deal with this. They just want to they see something they can add or subtract 2 numbers, boom, let's do it. No, you can't do that. That is wrong. Do not do that. So what you need to do is look for parentheses. You have some. You need to simplify them. So this section of the left side is what you're going to work on first. So this minus 16 is going to just come down. You're going to multiply negative 7 times 2 to get negative 14a. You're going to multiply negative 7 times positive 3 to get minus 21. And you're just going to bring down the right side of the equation. So now you're looking for like terms. You have a couple over here. You have minus 16 and you have minus 21. When you add those together, you get negative 37. And then you're going to bring down your minus 14a. And then on the right, it just keeps coming down because there's nothing you can do with it until this step when you see that you have variables on both sides and you need to get rid of one of the sides. So I'm just going to add 14a. I don't think either one is easier than the other. So when I do it on this side, it becomes 0. So my minus 37 comes down. And then this becomes 23. And negative 2 and positive 14 added together is positive 12a. And you can finish solving that. And then this next one, I do have parentheses on both sides. So on the left side, I have to simplify this section. And on the right side, I have to simplify that section. Notice those minuses, those subtraction signs, are now part of simplifying the parentheses. So on the left, I bring down the 5x. And then when I simplify this, it's minus 1 times x, which is minus, I'm just going to put 1x. It doesn't matter if you do or you don't. And then negative 1 times negative 18 is positive 18. So this is a really easy place to make mistakes with your signs. My 6 is going to come down. And again, a lot of people might have wanted to do 6 minus 2 there, but you are just trying to simplify the parentheses, so you're not going to do that. And then minus 2 times x is minus 2x, and then minus 2 times positive 15 is minus 30. So now, do I have any like terms on either side? I do. On the left side, I have a 5x and a minus 1x that I can combine to get 4x plus 18. And on the right, I have the constant 6 and the constants negative 30. So when I combine those, I get negative 24, and then I bring down my minus 2x. So do I have variables on both sides? I do. I think it would be easier to get rid of this minus 2x by adding 2x to both sides. This becomes 0, but on the left, I get 6x plus 18 equals negative 24. And now you're at step 4 where you can just solve the equation. And let's look at number 12. Number 12 on the left, I have 2 sets of parentheses. I'm going to simplify that set, and I'm going to simplify this set. And on the right, I don't have anything to do, so I just have to keep bringing it down until I'm ready to do something. So 8 times y is 8y. 8 times 4 is positive 32. For my next set, negative 2 times y is minus 2y, and then negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. Then on the right, I bring it down. So on the left, I have some stuff that I can combine. Step 2, can I combine anything? 8y minus 2y. That's minus 6y. On the right, on the left, 32 and 2. I can combine those two constants, plus 34. And on the right side, I just keep bringing it down until I can do something with it. So now I've got variables on both sides. I'm going to add 6y to both sides. I could also add 3y to both sides, but I'm going to add 6y to both sides. This becomes 0. I bring down my 34 equals 70, and negative 3 and 6 when I combine it is positive 3y. That's a two-step equation you can solve. Okay, guys, so what I want you to do now is go to the next page, and this is basically your little roadmap to solving equations. And we're going to go through an equation together and talk about the steps that you're taking. So let's write down this equation. 9 parentheses k minus 4 parentheses minus 7k equals 32 minus 2 times k plus 8. Okay, a lot of people would look at this and your brain would want to do 32 minus 2 right away. Don't do that because you are looking for parentheses. That's your first question you're asking yourself. Yes, you have parentheses. So you need to simplify those. So here's one set you're going to simplify, and here's the other set you're going to simplify. That's your first step. So when we're going to write the first level of simplification in the next box. So when we do 9 times k, we get 9k. 9 times minus 4 is minus 36. You just bring down the 7k that's hanging out there. Then 32 comes down because you can't do anything with it until you simplify the parentheses. And then you're going to do minus 2 times k is minus 2k, and minus 2 times 8 is minus 16. So do you have any like terms? Yes. And remember, on each side, right? You're not looking at like terms that are on opposite sides, just the like terms that are on each side. You do. So let's look. On the left side, you have 9k and minus 7k. That's going to give you 2k, and then your minus 36 is going to come down. On the right, you have the constants 32 and minus 16. You're going to combine those, you're going to get 16, and then that minus 2k is just going to come down. So your next question, do you have variables on both sides? Yes, you do. You get to pick one to add or subtract to both sides. So I have a 2k and a minus 2k. And right away you might think, oh, that's 0, right? You can't combine them on opposite sides like that. You have to pick one and then add the opposite to both sides. So let's pick 2, get rid of 2k. So we're going to subtract 2k to make this 0. So we're going to subtract 2k over here as well. So when we do that, we just bring down our minus 36, and we end up with 16, and negative 2 and negative 2 is minus 4k. So now I have a two-step equation. So this is the thing we've been doing since the first unit. So I find my variable. Do I have anything added or subtracted? I have this positive 16, so I want to subtract 16 from both sides. So the answer is yes to this question. I do have something being added, the 16. And so when I combine negative 36 and negative 16, I get negative 52 equals negative 4k. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4 because there's a variable being multiplied or divided. And negative 52 divided by 4 is 13. So 13 equals k. So this is basically your example roadmap for what you're doing to solve these multi-step equations when they have variables on both sides. So there's your notes.